Yes, guys, welcome back to episode 12 of Lilywhite Lounge. Um, we've had a little bit of a break for a while because I've been super busy, but I'm really happy to be back with my co-host Gus. Again, we're going to try to go back to consistent weekly episodes so you guys will get your fix every week. How are you, Gus?
I'm doing well, Kish. I can't complain. It's been a busy few weeks for both of us, but
Yeah.
we're back. We're back. We're getting into the swing of things, the heart of the season. Um, Big matchup this weekend. Excited for it, nervous for it, but doing well. Doing well. Glad to be back.
So we'll obviously get into kind of speaking about the Arsenal game on the weekend, but I don't want to dampen the mood for the whole podcast, so I'm gonna leave that till the second half. Um, yeah, you just moved house, right?
I did. I did.
How's the new house?
I bought a house, which huge adult decision for me. Um, It's going well. It's going well. It took about a month and a half to get some renovations done, get the bathroom redone, do the floors, do a bunch of things, small things, plumbing, the boring stuff. But now I'm in here. I'm getting cozy. I'm getting settled. As you can see, I got my boy behind me. 150th national team appearance this break. Um, yeah, I got my setup, feeling good. Yeah, I'm doing well. How are you? How's
How
the, how's
how have you
how's the
found?
YouTube channel going?
Yes, good man. It's flipping hard work, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Just like constantly grinding out content, which I think is difficult doing Spurs content or any club content because it's so reliant on where the team are at. And if things are going well, people want to watch videos and want to engage. And if it's going badly, people either don't watch or they leave negative takes or they're very angry. So um yeah, it's difficult I think at the moment, especially because I always want to be positive about Spurs, but I think I haven't felt super positive about Spurs. Um but I think I'm still positive long term about Spurs. I think it's just at the
Yeah.
moment I'm not super positive. Um so yes, it's hard work, but grinding.
Mhm.
Obviously doing a bit of work for different brands now as well, so trying to balance that. But yes, it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah. I'm gonna say I'm a victim of that. I love watching Spurs content when we're doing well, when we won a couple games in a row, when we're in good form, and I avoid Spurs content completely when we're not doing well or after a frustrating result. Let's just say that the United game was an interesting one. Um, so yeah, no, I as a viewer, as a consumer, I can completely see that. I try to avoid content altogether. But when we've won, especially a big game, I'll watch everything, read everything I can, consume it all. So I get that. I get that. It can
I
be
think
hard
I
to be
think the
positive.
sane the sane people or like the very well measured people, they think this is gonna frustrate me. I don't want to watch Spurs content that's negative, or I don't want to think about that negative game again, which is very fair. I'm not telling people to not watch my videos, by the way, but it's a very fair way of not of supporting the club, and it's kind of what I do now. Is like, especially when it's feeling negative, I just put the video out and then I try and just stay off socials if I can. Um, but yeah, I think the people that do watch are either people that want to understand what's going wrong, maybe, or
Mhm.
people that just want to take their frustration out, or sit in the misery. But
Yeah.
hopefully it's going to be much more positive going forward. I actually went to that game with my Man United fan cousin.
Hmm.
Apologies to everyone, but he was sitting in the home end next to me. So that was an interesting.
Yeah. I heard there was quite a few of those.
Oh, so many. Do you know
Yeah.
the rapper Dave, the English rapper?
Yeah.
He,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. He was literally sat 2 rows behind me with all his friends. I didn't realize that
No
half
way.
his friends are Spurs fans though. So like it was like a couple of them were
Oh, that's
United, a
too
couple
good.
of them were Spurs. And then I had some weird. So yeah, because my for some reason my dad sits like he doesn't. It's not like a special tickets, but he sits around the like loads of the players' families are like around. So like
Oh,
Brennan
okay.
Johnson's parents were behind me. Danso's someone related to Danso was there. So it's very, like it's such a weird experience sitting there. I don't always sit there because it's my dad's tickets, but
Mhm.
there's always like Yeah, like Basuma's family used to sit there, and they were so funny. Like his son was always like on someone's shoulders, and like they were good vibes.
That's class.
So yeah, it's a good place to kind of experience the match.
Wow.
But yeah, the break's been nice, to be fair. International break, bit of a reset.
Hmm.
Yeah, anything that kind of got your attention during the international break?
Well, I was working while the Ireland game was on, so I missed the first two goals that Parrott scored. Caught the winner live. Um, was reacting so hard in my group chat with my friends that I forgot to like tweet anything. Because it was that emotional of a moment. Obviously that caught my eye. I think that's gonna catch everyone's eye for the next few weeks. Um, Unbelievable hat trick. Parrott is in incredible form for the national team. I thought it was funny some of the screenshots I saw of um, some more neutrals or rival fans looking into Parrott and being like, "Who is this kid?" And a lot of Spurs fans reacting, just being like, "Oh, former Spurs boy that we sold this past summer," and it was just funny to see the disparity between some of his most recent performances for AZ and then his performances for Ireland during the break. But yeah, I mean, I tried to catch both Ireland games. I caught some of them. Um, 5 goals in 2 games, unbelievable finish to that one. Incredible scenes and limbs. But just a great moment for them. That obviously caught my eye. Caught a little bit of the England games. Um, Crazy to me that like Tuchel has not conceded a goal. I think
Yeah, I didn't
he's.
realize that until
Yeah, I
the other
didn't
day.
realize that either.
Yeah.
It granted that they haven't played very many proper teams, but in general, a very great start for Tuchel in England. Um, and some lineups that it was cool to see. Kwanzaa debut. Um, that moment was nice. Uh, as much as I hate him, nice finish from Eze. That goal was beautiful. Um, yeah, just kind of perusing. I saw like 10 or 15 minutes of most of the important games. Didn't catch them all. I'm not tapped into international breaks like that, but
Do you have like, because I know there's a lot of Irish people in America, but I don't know if they like, do they affiliate with Ireland, or are they just like too far down the generations now? Like, are they supporting Ireland?
if they're football fans, for sure, they're
Yeah.
following Ireland's national team, and I think they probably prefer following Ireland's national team compared to the U.S. men's national team. It's just U.S. men's national team is the most frustrating experience on the planet.
Yeah,
And
How's Poch doing actually? I haven't looked at all.
to be honest, I haven't really paid attention since the summer because of some of the lineups I had to experience. I think that I tried to make a comparison to, and it's slipping me, but there was a comparison I tried to make to, I think it was either South Korea or Japan in the games that they play in Asia. That like we should be looking to dominate out the teams we play, and we should be us in Canada should probably be the most established, um, you know, teams in CONCACAF, and it just never seems to be stable. It always feels like we have a different lineup, different squad. Poch is trying new things. I always say, online and to my friends, it feels like Poch has been told that he needs to try multiple different lineups and different players that play in the MLS to give them exposure. And he's just kind of taken the paycheck. He's getting paid absorbent amount of money. He's taking the paycheck and kind of just playing with it. And he knows that we automatically qualify, so he doesn't have to really put much work in. But that also could just be an outsider perspective who doesn't really pay very close attention to the U.S. men's national team.
It's funny though, because like I've seen so many nations in the past go into international tournaments with very sketchy qualification form, and then it gets to the actual tournament and they do really well. So I think like there's so much to be said about like tournaments as well, where you just get a good result, or like the momentum just carries like over just from one result or one performance. Especially being the home nation, like I still feel like regardless of what he's done up until this point, there could be like it could go really well. So obviously it could not go well, but But yeah, I feel like those things, like tournaments, are just always so random. Which is
It's
why
true.
everyone loves them, I think. Talking of that, um, I watched. I've been watching. Well, obviously the under-17 World Cup's going on right now.
Hmm.
Um, I haven't watched loads of it, but Morocco are unbelievable. Like they are so good. And obviously Morocco got to the semi-final of the last World Cup. But this next generation are like they're pumping out talent after talent. They beat America actually, and America have this like super wonder kid who has
Hmm.
joined Man City, Caven Sullivan, who's
Hmm.
15 or 16.
Just turned 16, I believe.
Yeah, so he's got a transfer already lined up to Man City. He's meant to be this super talent. I think he's actually done really well this World Cup. But Morocco, Morocco, they beat America, and there's like this clip of these like the three of the Moroccan kids, and they're all like doing the like pointing at Sullivan and saying, telling him to go to sleep, like he's been knocked out. I assume he was like giving it to them during the game, but it was a funny clip.
Yeah,
If you if
he is
you
a little cocky.
yeah, I'm sure he is. Like he's like
Yeah,
yeah, that's the star boy.
yeah.
But yeah, that was and yeah, Morocco. I mean, the World Cup. I think they're going to be my. I
Dark
just want to
horse.
support them. I just love Moroccan footballers, like in general,
Me too, man.
and
Me too.
they got a crazy generation
Any
coming up.
any North African nation,
Oh
I'm
yeah,
in.
of course,
I'm in.
yeah, for sure. On Parrot though,
Hmm.
I think it's a good talking point because yeah, I guess when Parrot was here, I think he was a big talent, and there's a lot of people kind of talking about bringing him back. I don't think Parrot's of the level necessarily that we want to be building around. Not to say that he wouldn't have had a really good squad role if he'd been developed correctly, or he could have even been better than that. I think at that time the pathway to the first team, but also just the loan setup, like the whole academy to first team was just a mess when Parrot was there.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think he's a bit of a victim of the time he came through at. And I think maybe if he'd come through now, where although it's not perfect, I think it seems to be more aligned at least. There might have been more hope for him. But I've also want to say that I think him getting out of the UK and locking in the Netherlands has been important because from what I hear, there's been like he's got some he had some bad characters around him. A lot of like big Irish gangsters and like all around him and his entourage apparently. So I think it's probably partly him maturing and moving abroad.
Yeah, it's interesting. I saw some people kind of arguing with that point that they were saying that, just because he moved countries and he moved leagues doesn't mean that those characters are now not in his life. But I think that the proximity of things matters. And
Of
when you
course,
have characters in your life that, know people in England or just anywhere, right? They know where to go to stay. They know friends, family, acquaintances where you're playing. They're more likely to visit and spend time with you. When you live in a different nation, farther away, it's harder to make that trip and to be ever present in your life. And so, I think that was an interesting kind of discussion about, young players moving, because I know we hear all the time young players have, entourage, or they have family members that can be toxic and can ruin relationships with clubs or managers. And so, kind of removing yourself from that environment and finding something new and something fresh can be really positive. And I just watched your video or part of your video. I haven't gotten all the way through it about the loan spells that we're experiencing with Tyrese and Mikey. And I think you made a good point at the beginning that you know sometimes you have to actually sell a young player for them to blossom and look at bring them back if things work out. And I think Parrot is a perfect example of I don't think he was ready when he was old enough to kind of break through with us. But this move is the perfect way of him getting back to England and getting back to the pyramid and trying to figure
yeah,
out where he fits.
for sure. And I want to go in on that point of like, yeah, it's not like his whole entourage are gonna like fly out to Alkmaar and party in Alkmaar. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I think that was a lot of it. Like he was a bit of a party boy from what I hear, and
Hmm.
like Also, he's just growing up, so he might have just hit a point in his age where now he's like, oh shit, like I need to lock in and make the most of my career, and like those things can happen at different stages of a young footballer's life, and so they probably all culminated like quite nicely together, where maybe he's maturing on one side, but he's also away from the mix up, like he's not going to fly back on a Wednesday to
True.
Dublin or whatever. So yeah, I think and it's just sometimes those steps help, but also he might have made that decision himself. So you don't know the player. So but I think it's all positive, and like I wish him the best, and that's what I wanted to say about all our loan players. Like so many of them won't make it at Spurs, but it's not really the point. There's loans have multi kind of reasons, and a lot of it is like giving the player exposure. And it's like if you go and take that and you go crazy and you kill it, then maybe you can make it at Spurs. But if you do pretty well, then maybe you'll get a good move. It's just like giving these young players the chance of making the most of their early stage of their career. And obviously some of them will have higher hopes on other players. I'm sorry, on certain players than others, but sometimes people surprise you as well. So I think loans are just really important for exposure, and it doesn't mean that they're being loaned out so that they're ready for the first team. It's different in every case. So I think that's a good point. But yeah. Anything else on the international? Yeah, Xavi Simons got his first goal. Did you see the goal?
I did see the goal. I saw a lot of people talking about how we never give him that position. That he's
They were
not
playing
receiving.
Liechtenstein or something, though,
Yeah,
weren't
I
they?
mean,
So
they're playing Liechtenstein. He had acres of space. He had 3 guys in front of him, all statued, just standing there waiting for him to try to shoot and block it. And all he had to do was dip the shoulder, and they got sent on the fake. It was a nice finish. I
yeah,
think that it's a point to be made about Xavi that he's a goal scorer. He likes to contribute in the box, in and around the box, and he likes to be able to score goals, and that's how he gets his confidence. And I think that that's how we get him into better form and to get more comfortable. And I think that hopefully a goal on international break, even though it is against that opponent, that gets him some confidence. It's not. I've never seen it happen, at least this season or recently, where like international break form really carries over to club form. It's not a direct correlation. Um, but I think that he needs something, right? Like he's been good, he's been solid. Most recently, I think he was kind of overlooked as a good performer versus United. I thought he was pretty
I agree.
solid, and Copenhagen was really good. And I think that we're getting to the point where he's starting to become more comfortable, and we're feeding him the ball more. And any goal, any assist, kind of any playing time on an international break, I'll take. So, nice little goal though. Nice little
Yeah,
goal.
he also brought back the OG trim, um, which was quality. Like that, he
Yeah.
posted a picture. I don't know if it was on his main account, but he's got this little like side Instagram account which I follow, and it was like a picture of him playing for Holland when he was like 14, and then a picture of him now with the same trim. It was good. But yeah, I think all of that stuff is only going to benefit him. I'm still really high on him. He needs to adapt, but he also needs to be helped by the system, which I think is massive. And I think with some players returning, I think hopefully we'll see more of him getting the touches in the zones that he needs to be. Um, I think Udogi being back is huge. I think if we ignore the Arsenal game, I don't expect him to be really prominent in the Arsenal game. I don't think many of our attackers will be. But going on from there, I don't. Who do you know who we have after Arsenal?
I just had it open. Well, we have PSG on Wednesday. And then we play Fulham
Okay.
at
Well, that
home,
yeah. We'll
which
look to that one.
yeah, that we'll look forward to that one as a um
Like a Xavi.
kind of a
Yeah.
course corrector.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't think Javi will start both those Arsenal and PSG games. I think he'll probably start one of them. Um,
Yeah, I don't think he'll start both. And
um,
that's we'll get into that when we talk about Arsenal. I think that
yeah,
both games though are moments for him to arrive, right? Like
yeah,
I think that when you look at opportunities for big signings to kind of make a stamp on the team that they just got signed to, you look at these games, right? When he gets signed, he knows that we're going to play PSG away. He knows the North London derbies are our biggest games every season. So, you know, I think that he can make an impact, but also he could use a performance in one of these games to really kind of cement, an
Oh,
arrival somewhat where he gets into form
man.
and it's a big moment. So we'll see. I'm
The thing,
optimistic
the
that
thing,
one
the
of those
thing, I,
games will be good for him.
the things I would do for
Oh my God.
a Xavi goal against Arsenal. Also, to add as well, PSG is obviously his former club. That's
Yep.
sort of, I guess, sort of neglect. Like he was sort of ready to be integrated into their first team, and they didn't really utilize him. So I'm sure he'll have some kind of feelings in that game as well. But yeah, let's move on to Arsenal because I know
Mhm.
it's going to probably take us a while to properly
Yeah.
dissect it. First of all, where are you watching that game? Do you know yet?
I will be something that we talked about before we started. I'll be on call, but I told my backup that I will be not taking calls from 11:30,
Two
which is when the
hours.
game
Yeah.
starts locally, to 2. So I'll be
Yeah.
free. I'll be able to enjoy it with my friends. I'll be surrounded by Arsenal fans. I go to an Arsenal
The bar.
supporting bar, but North London derbies there are always fun. It's a mix of everyone. In America, you have a supporter club bar. If it's not in New York City, Boston, LA, the big cities, right? You have a mix of everyone, just football enjoyers, right? And everyone loves the North London derby. Neutral, someone who's a Serie A fan, anyone will come who's a football enjoyer and
Yeah.
come watch it. So probably
Yeah.
be a packed bar. I'll probably get some breakfast in before. I won't be able to drink because I'll be on call, which is a
Yeah.
huge L. I
Yeah.
wish I
Yeah.
could,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
for these games, I by halftime I like to be hammered so that if the result doesn't go our way, which it normally doesn't, I can just be kind of fuck a we ball attitude
Yeah.
and say,
Yeah.
well, I'm
Yeah.
hammered, I don't really care, and play the nonchalant gimmick. But um, yeah, no, I'll be watching it at the bar. Where are you watching it?
I think I'll probably be watching it at home because I'm going out the night before and I've got
Okay.
football in the morning, and then I'll be hungover probably and wanting to just sit on my sofa. But I've done that. I've watched it with Arsenal fans before, which was well, I mean, throughout school, we used to, for these games, we used to get like loads of us together, and there'd be like 3 of us Spurs fans, and then there'd be like 15 Arsenal fans at someone's house, and it was
Mhm.
always just chaos. Like, and that was in a period where like we were pretty successful against them. Never really at the Emirates, but it was the kind of going into the Poch era, so
Mhm.
I could kind of bear it a little bit. And then I tried to kind of continue that into because all my friends are Arsenal fans, or like everyone I know is Arsenal
Yeah.
fans. So through into uni, I kind of did a couple where I watched them with Arsenal fans, and then that was when we started to get really bad under Mourinho
Mhm.
and whoever else after that. And then I realized, no, I can't do this anymore. Like, I just can't do
For
this
my own
anymore.
sanity,
Um,
hell no.
so now I strictly won't do that.
Mhm.
But I think this one, I assume my dad will be in, so it'll just be probably me watching at home. But I'm not too hopeful about this one. But you know what? Like, I don't mind that feeling because for a while now, I've gone into these games like, you know, I feel like we can get something here today. Like, whereas this time I'm like, I literally am not expecting a thing. And even like last year, because I think Arsenal were still a bit like meh, or
Mhm.
they were
Mhm.
obviously they were still like competing at the top, but they weren't what they look like this season, which is much more like controlled and stable. And also Ange would always pull out these freak results,
Yeah.
and I kind of still hung on to that until those kind of disappeared as well.
Mhm.
So yeah, so this time I'm fully. I mean, I'm not expecting much, but I think Thomas Frank knows how to coach big games and games against top opposition because I feel like he thrives being the underdog. So
Mhm.
that could play into our hands. I think. Yeah, I think I did a little kind of short preview, which I'm going to put out on like TikTok and stuff tomorrow, where I said I kind of think, well, I think we should go with a back three,
Mhm.
um, which but I would rather than doing a 3-5-2, I was saying we should do a 3-4-3 and have Kudus as our nine, and just have Odobert and Simmons in the kind of 2 10s, because I
Mhm.
think you can get out Arsenal's fullbacks if you overload them.
Mhm.
Um, And so with Poro and Udogie and then Simmons and Odebear, I think that could work well. And then obviously
Mhm.
Kudus is someone the ball will stick to,
Yep.
and he can get us up the pitch. And I think there's going to be times where we're going to have to suffer. And I think if you have Kudus in central areas, he can really carry you up the pitch.
Mhm.
Although Arsenal are very stable in terms of defensive transitions, I do think Kudus is one person that can probably compete with Rice in transitions,
Mhm.
because Rice is obviously a bit of a cheat code in transition. So
Mhm.
there's a couple things I'm hopeful. Obviously, Gabriel is injured. What
Mhm.
do you think that means? Gabriel being injured?
Well, I think we have less to worry about on set pieces. I think that's a given, right? He's probably the most dominant player on set pieces in the league.
World
Um,
probably.
Probably the world, yeah, too.
Yeah,
I just hate saying that out loud.
yeah.
Um, uh, yeah, I think that it definitely throws a twist in our game plan on set pieces, to where to get at them defensively. I think that they're probably trying to figure out who starts it left center back compared to, are they throwing uh Miles Skelly at left back because Calafiore is kind of in doubt. Timber went off, kind of hobbling. I think he'll probably play, but yeah, they have some question marks in that back line, and I think that doesn't give me much hope because of their depth. I think their depth is the best in the world, and I don't think anyone can really argue with that. They can bring in who else can they bring in?
They got Hincapié. They've
Yeah,
got
Hincapié,
Mosquera.
Mosquera.
They've got Ben White.
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah,
they've
no,
got a
they're
lot.
stacked. I
But I
think.
guess the point is that if there's two of that back line who's been so settled
Right.
being swapped out, it doesn't matter if you have depth. That can cause issues anyway, just of kind of not being
Mhm.
synchronized and not being on the same page. So yeah, I
100%.
mean that could play into our hands. I think yeah, obviously their depth is big, but I also think while they've been very, very good offensively from corners, I
Mhm.
feel like they can be got at defensively from corners. I think the issue is that teams don't even really get up the pitch or get territory against them to get
Mhm.
those corners. So that's why I think Kudus can be so key in just getting us up the pitch and not being suffocated in our own half.
Mhm.
Because I think what Arsenal is so good at is controlling games
Mhm.
and kind of pushing their own stamp on games and not never being under threat. And while they don't create much from open play, they are constantly with the ball. They're constantly in control, and so that all they
Mhm.
really need is one goal, whether it's from a set piece or a bit of magic or whatever, and then the game can almost be considered done. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I think us kind of trying to get some set pieces is big. Yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting. I definitely want to avoid seeing Richarlison in the starting lineup because for multiple reasons, but the main one is to build off the point you just made that control is going to be really hard in this game for us. We're not going to be control for the majority of it, but when we do have the ball, right? What players can we have on the pitch that allow us to control those moments, right? And Richarlison, the ball is bouncing off him at this present time. You know, Often it does. He's falling down. Put Kudus at false nine, let him operate in the center of the pitch. Hopefully the ball can stick to him. I like your idea of 3-4-3. Playing Odegaard and Xavi in the 10 with holders. Um, you know, we should be able to progress the ball without the winger play with that formation. Xavi and Odegaard are probably our most progressive players when Kudus, if we're playing Kudus in the middle. So it's an interesting dilemma we're in because we don't really have a striker. Koulibaly breaking his jaw kind of puts us in a pretty shit position because I think Frank was going for a two striker setup with Cole Milani and Kudus up top for this game. I think
yeah,
going into
yeah,
the most recent games, that was kind of what he was angling at. And I really liked that idea. I think that could have worked. Um,
yeah. And I mean
when
the ball would stick to both of them for sure.
Yeah, and so we were
Yeah.
allowed to we're able to get out. Right, we can't get out with Richarlison up top.
That's the massive thing. I think you're right. Like
Yeah.
there's going to be such few moments in this game to do anything really. So when you do have the ball, you have to make it count, and it'll be very frustrating if we do get a moment and Richarlison with a poor touch lets us down, or Brennan Johnson with a
Mhm.
kind of poor touch lets us down. I think you really have to be secure and what's the word,
Like
not
intentional.
specific, direct, yeah, intentional, that's the word, yeah,
Yeah.
like intentional with every
Mhm.
action. And I think the only kind of concern I'd have with that 3-4-3 that I suggested is that maybe Xavi and Audebert aren't necessarily good in big spaces, and there will
Mhm.
be kind of moments where maybe we have to get up big spaces. But who is good on big spaces is Udogie, and if you allow him to play wing back, that's good. Maybe you play Spence over Porro as well, and he's a good carrier. And I think the other thing is like Simmons and Audebert protect the ball well. So winning little free kicks on counterattacks and stuff is a good way to kind of relieve pressure.
Mhm.
So while they might not progress us up the pitch, they will buy us time and be able to slow the game down.
Mhm.
I think Bentancur is one that I would probably play as well,
Mhm.
because he is good at receiving it under pressure and being calm. And while it might just be him bouncing it ball back to the back three or just popping it out to the fullback, I think those things in these games are important. My choice if we were to play a back three would probably be Bentancur and Sarr, just because of legs and for days. I know
Mhm.
it'll probably be Bentancur and Polina, but I think you don't necessarily need a Polina if you've got that back three.
Mhm.
But I'm sure it'll be Bentancur and Polina.
Mhm. Yeah, to build off the point on Bentaker, I think that he's had some pretty decent or above average away performances. I think he's been really solid away from home. I mean, our whole squad has, but um, I think that he has the most experience in North London derbies in our midfield away. And I think he probably adds the most confidence to our midfield in the middle of the park. So it's interesting. The other thing I wanted to mention as a con to the 3-4-3 is that Odegaard and Xavi seem, Xavi has personality. We know he does. He just hasn't quite shown it yet. And I think Odegaard, if he's not getting a lot of touches, same with Xavi. I've talked about this where like Xavi needs touches to really get into the game. You know, they both probably will and need to start just for ball retention and progression. But I worry that if they don't get enough touches early on, or we're not close enough to them, right? Their overlaps, their underlaps, the people that they're combining with aren't close enough. That they, like you said, they're not big. They're not good in big spaces. So, um, or they're just not. They're not. That's not their strength, right? So,
No,
it's an interesting thing where we need to get them involved early, and if we can, I think they'll grow into this game. And I really hope that if Xavi's having one of those performances where he starts slow and is kind of building into the game, that Frank sticks with him, especially if it's only if it's a a tie game or a 1 goal margin. I think that he could grow into the game and really be a difference maker to hopefully make it either respectable or get us a point or, in an ideal world win.
right.
But like, it's just,
Yeah.
it's such a dilemma with the amount of injuries we have and the position that Frank is in with the lack of ball retention. It seems like all of our technical players, at least in attack, want to get hurt or stay hurt. And we just have no options. Like,
But
what are
that's
we
the
supposed to
thing.
start with Richarlison or Tell? And like, even that is, I mean, obviously that's sketchy, but that gives us no one's confidence. So
Yeah, I
it's
mean, we
tough.
could debate personnel all day,
Yeah.
but I think
Yeah.
there's a lot to say that this team probably ends up picking itself. I think obviously,
Yeah.
Richarlison and Johnson will be considered, I'm sure. I
Mhm.
think most people would be anti that. I think the other kind of way that potentially we could set up is in a 5-3-2. I mean, I don't know for sure if he goes to a back three, but I'm saying if he does go to a back three, um, then you look at maybe putting Bergval in there, and Bergval is good in big spaces.
Yep.
So I'm not necessarily against that, but then your front two probably has to be Kudus and Audebert or Kudus and Richarlison. But yeah, I don't know. So that's a strange one. I was gonna say though that there's no game that I've ever watched more than the North London derby in terms of how the pendulum swinging
Mhm.
is such a big thing. Like I don't know how to explain it, but in this game, in this fixture, it's just about like momentum all the time. Like you can be under the cosh for like half an hour and then you get one little like break and you win a throw in high up and suddenly the pendulum just swings the whole way and then it's your moment to like jab and have your like your kind of go at trying to create something. Um, I mean, recently we've obviously been really badly dominated against them.
Mm-hmm.
But in all other kind of fixtures, regardless of form and who's been, I think there's been so many games where it just swings back and forth. Like the Ange one, the first one when
2-2.
we drew 2-2, that one, perfect example. Like we had our moments, they had their moments, and it's like kind of trying to ride out the moments when they have the kind of the momentum and stuff, and then capitalize on the times when you get it. And it's obviously not always 50-50, like there's, but you do get moments in these games because of how high pressure and high stakes they are. And also they feel like the crowds feel the nerves as well, so that translates into the players for sure in this fixture. So yeah.
That's what I was going to mention is the nerves of the fan bases, I think, get projected onto the players, and when they're under pressure and the other team has momentum, it almost feels like they're on their last breath, or they're going to concede almost every time. And I think that cliche is, form goes out the window. It's so true in this fixture. I wish I was a neutral for this fixture because it would be so fun to watch. It's incredibly frustrating recently in our North London derby performances, because it feels like there's been some moments, like you said, where the momentum swings so quickly and so harshly against us. And I think the perfect example of it that I can think of, and it's the most recent one I can think of, is the Van der Ven goal that got disallowed, right? The offsides off the deflection. That I think that allows us to equalize like inside half an hour at home. And it took us, I think, 60 or, and then they go down and score the second, but it took us 60 or 70 more minutes to finally score the penalty. But it's such an interesting fixture, because of that reason, that it feels like every shot on target, every dribble completed, every corner, any set piece can be that momentum swing that is needed. Any yellow card or harsh challenge that goes to VAR can be the
That's
moment
what I was
that
gonna
gets people back in the game.
That's what I was gonna say with VAR. Like it's weird, but it's almost as if like in this fixture and other big fixtures, like if you concede a goal but it gets disallowed by VAR, it's
It's
like
worse.
you get the advantage from that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
which is crazy. So if you're 1-0 up, let's say, and then you concede with VAR, and then you're under pressure at that point, but then VAR disallows the goal, suddenly that pressure just disappears, and you're in like the ascendancy again. So it's such a weird, which is kind of why I hate. That's another reason I hate VAR, because I think
One
it
of a
actually
million.
benefits. But yeah, I think it's going to be a difficult one. I think this is funny because like when Arsenal were bad, obviously I live 5 minutes from the Arsenal
Mm-hmm.
stadium, like literally it's around the corner to me. I used to like I'd be walking home and you obviously they all walk like past my house to go to the stadium, so you just see hundreds of them. And like when they were bad, I was just always like I'd just walk outside, go for a walk, and just see them all looking miserable after like another defeat. And nowadays, like all I just see is them like all at the pub, just all happy. So
Just
I mean, like
vibing.
if we were to win in this game, like there's no way I'm not leaving my house. Like I'm definitely going on a walk. Um, but yeah, it's the worst fixture for me. I hate it every year, and I think I agree with what you're saying. All my non-Arsenal or Spurs mates, they always say this is the best game in the Premier League. Always, like it's the most entertaining, but you
and
just can't enjoy it as a fan of one of the teams.
and this iteration of this matchup, right? This specific iteration could be the ugliest North London derby we've ever watched,
Yeah,
but it
yeah.
still will be entertaining just because of the jeopardy that, you know, any result gives. Like I think we if we get a draw, right? If we tie, that puts a whole different kind of scope on how Frank has been doing, and perspective on, where we're headed. If we can get a, you know, if we can get a point away from home at the Emirates, where we haven't won since, I think it was like, I had to look it up. That's how long it's been in the league.
Kabul, was it Kabul? The three
Yeah,
two was it? Yeah,
yeah, 3-2,
yeah,
2010, 2011. That was
yeah,
before I even was watching regularly.
yeah.
It's that's that momentum swing in our season we need, even if it's just a point. And I think that that it's so funny. Like, you know, people will probably, if that was to happen, or in any draw, you know, in a big game, you know, people will mock that, like, we're celebrating a draw. But you know, it would just mean so much, I think, to these
Of course.
players and to Frank. But I'm prepared, even as like trying to turn my neutral brain on occasionally and be like, wow, this is an ugly game. Like, I can't believe
Yeah.
I'm actually like spending two and a
I'd
half hours
take an
watching this
ugly
shit.
game. Like I would
Yeah,
take. I just find
100%.
that when there's nothing happening in these games, it's like when you're able to breathe again, and like
Yeah.
it's like you suddenly like
100%.
there's an injury for 5 minutes, and you're like,
You're like,
fucking, I
oh,
need
thank
that.
God.
Um, well, no, I think what was I gonna say? I think the other thing is like, yeah, this will like turn the outcome, or not the outcome, like the mood around Frank. But also,
Hmm.
if Arsenal don't win this game, the mood completely changes there, because they just drew to Sunderland obviously before the international
Hmm.
break. If they fail to win again and City go
City.
and win again,
Hmm.
then everything changes. So I think as much as I want us to win for us, this season is for me becoming more about Arsenal not winning the league than whatever Spurs do. Like there's so
Yeah.
much riding on it for me. Like in terms of I cannot have Arsenal in
Yeah.
the league. So like I'm as much like this game is as much important about denying them points as it is
Hmm.
about getting our own points.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think that's pretty much everything covered.
Hmm.
If you got anything so we can kind of get this game out of our heads until
Hmm.
Sunday, because that's the other thing. I love to just not think about the game. I don't watch any content to build it
Yep.
up. I just wait until it's on, watch it, turn it off. Like that's it. Um, so yeah. If you have, do you have anything to recommend to the people
I
to check out
do.
to take
I
their mind off
do.
this game?
Um, I'm trying to think. What should I
I've got
recommend?
one. I'll
Okay,
start
go
and then
ahead.
you.
Go first. Go first.
So this one is, I'm sure a lot of people are watching it already, but it's on Apple TV.
Mm-hmm.
Pluribus is called.
Pluribus. I've never heard of it.
It is the creator of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul,
Okay.
Vince Gilligan, and
Love that.
the it's unreal. Only 3 episodes are out right now, and they come
Mm-hmm.
out every Friday. But the concept is like this virus enters Earth, and basically only like 20 people are immune, and the virus is basically that they all become quite like robotic, but they are still like human. But they're all like they've all got the same mind, so there's like a hive mind. So
Ah,
they have access to every information that any person has. But
very cool.
also the people that are not in, they're not affected by the virus, kind of can make them do whatever they want. So like
Mm-hmm.
their whole goal is to make these 20 people happy, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so then there's about this main woman who actually plays Kim Wexler in Better Call Saul.
Okay.
So she's like one of the main characters there. It's about
Nice.
her trying to cope with it and like save, I guess, humanity. And then like different characters use it different ways. Like this was one guy who, this is what I was saying about it. I was like, basically he just gets on like a private jet. He gets them to deliver him a private jet, and he gets like all like the world's supermodels to get on the private jet with him, and he's just like having the time of his life. Whereas, and she's like, how can you do this? Like the world's about to end. He's like, no, I think the world looks fine to me. Like, so it's just like it's a very interesting concept.
Yeah.
So but yeah, it's got, I think it got 9.2 on IMDb or something like that. So it's like
Damn.
one of the highest rated shows in a long
And
time.
it's just releasing weekly now,
Weekly
right?
at the moment. Yeah,
That's
so
sick.
three
That's
of them
sick.
are out.
I love catching a show while it's still like airing every week. I think that
So you can talk, yeah, because all the
we get
drama.
too obsessed with binging, and like it just absorbs my whole evening or my whole weekend, and I'd rather like wait, you know, for an episode. I'll definitely take a peek, especially since there's only 3 episodes, easy to catch up. Um
It will be
yeah, so
one.
my
It will be one that you'll want to binge though. Like you'll be like,
yeah,
"Fuck,
yeah,
I wish
yeah.
I messed it
Well,
out." Yeah,
I love shows that make you think of like what would I do if I was in that universe? Like what would
yeah, exactly,
what
exactly.
thing would I try to do with that, you know,
Yeah,
superpower, or, you know,
yeah,
different dimension, you know, it's different here. Like what would I do with
yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah.
I love those type of shows. It always makes me think. That's why I also like love watching history shows, especially about like the American frontier and random things. Like what would I
Yeah, yeah,
do if I had my own homestead in like early America?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Whatever it is. I have two recommendations. I have one song that's been stuck in my head for like almost a month
Yeah.
now. It's called Sound the Alarm. by Lower Lover Day. I honestly have never heard of this band or the song. It just came up in my Discover Weekly, and it's addicting. It's like one of those roll your window down, kind of vibe songs you sing along with. It's great. It's called Sound
I'm
the
gonna write
Alarm.
that down. Yeah.
And the other one is an old show. It's an HBO show. I've been trying to get through all of my miniseries or limited series. After I watched Chernobyl, I was like looking up like best miniseries because, like I said, I don't like. I'm getting
Binge
older,
TV.
and this is gonna sound like an unk thing, but like I don't like finishing shows in like a weekend. Like I like to be able to stretch it out. So I watch an episode a night, and one of the shows that came up was called Generation Kill. A lot of people have probably seen it. It's an HBO show that was made in 2008 about the initial invasion of Iraq by American troops. And it's kind of like a extension of Band of Brothers in the Pacific. Has got the same vibe, and it's very gritty and dark. It's not like it's anti-war. It's not a glorification of the invasion. It's very dark.
It's not like an Americanized like propaganda thing.
They did a good job because there was nothing good, nothing pretty, nothing positive about our invasion of Iraq. It was completely, negative. There's so many things we could talk about there, but it's just a very good depiction of that invasion. And I'm really enjoying it, even though it's not like one of those war miniseries that's like battle. It's very like dialogue heavy. You're learning about like schematics of invasions.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
So those are my
How many episodes? How many episodes is that?
It's 8. It's a miniseries, so it's only 8, and I think I'm episode 6. I finished last night.
Okay, I'm gonna look in. The other one I started is Yellowstone, which I'm on for a long journey.
Yeah, it's a long one. I haven't watched it, but I've seen select episodes.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. We're obviously back now. I've got a few good guests that I'm trying to get on. Obviously, it'll be me and Gus a lot as well. If you do have any requests of guests, anyone, Spurs fan, non-Spurs fan, as big and famous as you want, obviously to an extent, but people that are within reach, let me know, because I'm trying my best to like curate a bit of a list of all the kind of good guests that I can get over the season, kind of, and sprinkle them in with the more regular ones. So please let me know. Thanks, Gus, for coming on again.
Anytime.
And good luck, everyone, for this weekend. Hug your loved ones.
Godspeed.
Drink heavy and turn your phone off after the game, unless we win. But yeah, thanks everybody, and come on you Spurs.
Come on you Spurs.